I made it to Mills River, North Carolina last night, you guys. My friends Byron and Kathleen White are letting me crash at this beautiful custom-built tiny home that they have. They just placed it here in Mills River in a little tiny home community called Alcone Bell. It's an amazing place. You guys got to check this out. And when I'm done showing you around this beautiful property, I'll tell you a little bit about where I'm headed. As most of you guys know, I grew up overseas. I grew up in the Congo, formerly known as Zaire, and I went to a boarding school called TASOK, the American School of Kinshasa, Kinshasa being the capital of Zaire at that time. And it was a fantastic experience. I absolutely loved growing up overseas. I felt like Huckleberry Finn. I mean, you know, every day was an adventure. And the cool part about the TASOK community is it's very, very tight. So it doesn't matter what year you graduated from TASOK, you are going to be instant best friends with anybody who graduated from TASOK because of that shared bonding experience of growing up as a third culture kid in a foreign country. So the class of 1982 is hosting a big reunion in Sevierville, Tennessee. And the cool part about TASOK, again, it's a very open community. It doesn't matter what year you graduated from the school, everybody's invited. Even teachers are invited. It's going to be cool. So I am super excited. Get to go to this class reunion. There's going to be a bunch of people there. I'm going to be able to hang out with some old friends, catch up with some new ones. It's just going to be an amazing experience. So let's get packed up, and I've got some amazing riding to do on my way there from here in Mills River over to Sevierville, which is kind of near Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, if you guys know where that is some beautiful riding. I get to go over the Smoky Mountains. Maybe I'll stop at Clingmans Dome. Just some amazing scenery. So get ready for some beautiful riding, guys. But before we go, I'll show you real quick what I've got packed for this trip. Since this is a road trip, I am using the GV Outback Trekker bags. And inside those, I'm going to be using my Think Tank City Walker 30 inserts. And this side is going to have all the electronics. So I've got my Z9, got the drone, a bunch of other different accessories and cables and chargers. And on this side is going to be all of my household stuff, my change of clothes, toiletry kit, belt, umbrella, spare shoes. And the cool part about these two bags is they fit perfectly into these cases, and we'll be ready to roll. In addition to that, I've got my Nelson Rig tank bag. Tank bag's gonna have a spare set of gloves, all my GoPro paraphernalia, got the 360 in there, a bunch of chargers, batteries, spare batteries, and various and sundry items like chapstick and headphones. Very cool.
All right, you guys, we are off. Alcone Bell was a fabulous place to grab some sleep, get some Z's. And the sun is out, it's not too hot. We're finally reaching into the mountains. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to finally hit some twisty mountain roads. Oh, entering the Pisgah National Forest, guys. This is gonna be beautiful. Oh my gosh, look at all the green. We just passed the Davidson River campground. I've camped there before. It's a really neat little campground right along the river. You often will find people fly fishing in that little river. So it reminds me of my good friend Brent Miller, who's a big fly fishing guy and motorcyclist. So he always does presentations at Horizons Unlimited about carrying a fly rod with him on his motorcycle and stopping to do some fly fishing. But this is just magnificent. I don't get scenery like this in Charleston. I can't wait to see what we've got ahead. All right, we finally passed all the pace cars. Time to ride. Seriously. Sorry, buddy. Oh, yeah. Ale, 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 ale. Oh, this is what we're talking about. As the Costa Ricans say, pura vida. This is the pure life. Sun is shining. Nice temperatures. Twisty roads. What more could you ask for? Whew. This is just beautiful. There are definitely some slick spots still in the shady areas from all the rain last night. So, and especially since I still have my knobby tires on from the scar from riding the South Carolina adventure route, I'm definitely not going to be dragging any foot pegs today. But it's still beautiful. This is so cool. We don't get twisty roads in Charleston, so I am in heaven. That's a better person than I am, man. Those thighs gotta be burning. Whoo! Cycle, baby, cycle. I'll just let Trinity do all the work. I don't know what it is about leaning into a tight corner that is so addictive. It's the advantage of two wheels. You know, you kind of are creating your own little roller coaster, throwing your equilibrium off a little bit. And just that freedom of being able to turn on multiple axes, you know, on a car, you turn the wheel, but you don't really lean. It's totally different. The feel of a motorcycle on a twisty mountain road just gives you the sense of freedom. I would imagine a lot like pilots, you know, if you're a pilot, you can go up, down, left, right, you can bank, you can do all kinds of stuff. You have that ultimate freedom. And I think motorcycling allows us to have a little taste of that, just a piece of what that ultimate freedom feels like, without having, you know, to spend $10,000 on getting a private pilot's license. All right, guys, we are at the Blue Ridge Parkway. There it is. The overpass right there is the Blue Ridge Parkway. I've ridden the Blue Ridge Parkway many times. In fact, you can check out our series on the Blue Ridge Parkway. It was one of our earlier moto vlogging series that we did. I'll link to it in the notes above. But I'm going to continue along 278 and head down towards Waynesville. And then head on up into Cherokee and then over to Clingmans Dome. Woohoo! Open it up, boys! Ride it like you stole it. Man, I wish Jason and Steve were here with me. This would be just an epic trip to do together. I'm missing the guys. But don't worry, we got lots of big episodes coming up, lots of big trips. Hey, there it is again. That's the Blue Ridge Parkway again, guys. Got to go under it twice. But we're off the mountain now. We're out of the Pisgah National Park. Highway 74 heading into Cherokee. Look at this. Beautiful weather. Beautiful view. Mountains coming up. Oh, I can't wait to get into the Smoky Mountains National Park. One of my favorite places on earth. These are some really, really old mountains, and this whole range has so much history. Can't wait to take you guys up there. This is going to be awesome. Woohoo! We are approaching Cherokee. What a beautiful morning of riding. I mean, it was absolutely perfect. Temperature was perfect. Light traffic. I mean, I was just in heaven.
Be yourself.
But now I am starving. I didn't have anything for breakfast, haven't had anything to drink, haven't other than water. I mean, I'm just dying. So it's time to stop for lunch. And I have heard some amazing things about this incredible restaurant called Waffle House. No, just kidding. Rancho Viejo, Mexico. Authentic Mexican restaurant. I've heard some amazing things about this place. So we have the perfect opportunity to have us some perfect huevos rancheros. Fill up our tummy and then get back on the road. Well, we made it to Cherokee, you guys. This is the downtown Cherokee area. Town of Cherokee in North Carolina, of course, is on the Cherokee Indian Reservation. The eastern band of Cherokee Nation settled here back in the 1800s. And in fact, you can go to the Oconaluftee Indian Village, and they have reenactments and depictions of what life was like as a Cherokee Indian back in the 1800s. It's pretty cool. And we're going to take a little right up here and head to the Oconaluftee Visitor Center, which is the start of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and head on up into the mountains from there.
Recording.
As you can tell, river rafting is quite a big deal around here. Bus loads full of tourists with inner tubes getting shuffled up the hill to jump in the river and ride back down. Now, those of you who have heard of the Blue Ridge Parkway, that right there is the end of the Blue Ridge Parkway. It enters into Highway 441 here, and that's the end of the Blue Ridge Parkway. And just up about a block or so from that is the Oconaluftee Visitor Center, which you can see right here in the distance. The Oconaluftee Visitor Center is, again, kind of the main visitor center for the Smoky Mountains National Park. And they have a really nice display and very helpful rangers in there. But the most magnificent part, I think, about it is the herds of elk that lived nearby here. I'm keeping my eyes peeled, but midday like this, we probably won't see any elk. Look at all the visitors. It's a really, really nice visitor center. But back in these forests, just on the ridge up here, is a huge herd of elk. In fact, you can go around into the Job Corps area up in here and see them sometimes, but they come all the way down to the visitor center early in the morning and late in the evening. Once it cools off a little bit. That's where they kind of play and do their little rutting behavior and get out into the open fields and flirt with each other and fight with each other and spar and do all that good stuff that elk sometimes do in a herd, trying to establish their pecking order in the herds. But I have photographed the elk here many a times, and it's just a magnificent experience, especially if you get up pre-dawn, be here at first light. You got the mist rising up out of the warm, moist soil, and the elk bugling and sparring, and it's just a really interesting experience. And there's, it's quiet, there's nobody around, except of course for the other photographers that are out here doing the same thing. But I highly recommend that, the Oconaluftee Visitor Center. We are going to go up into the mountains from here, guys, up and over the Great Smoky Mountains. And if we have time, I'm going to try and stop off at Clingmans Dome, show you guys the view from up there. It's just magnificent. So, as they say in Mexico, vámonos, let's go, let's do this. So green, Great Smoky Mountains National Park. For those of you who are the loyal, longtime followers of the channel, you will probably recognize the little blue line down there. This is, of course, part of the Transamerica Trail. So I am actually retracing some of the steps from our Transamerica Trail trip. I'll link to that above. But you probably recognize some of the scenes if you've been following the channel for a while. Smoky Mountains National Park. The The sun is out.
I remember days like this when my father took me to the forest.
The temperature is absolutely perfect. The roads are beautiful. Oh, I'm in heaven. Yesterday, riding from Charleston to Mills River, I was soaked in multiple deluges of rain. Two major fronts kind of passing over me, and at one point I had to stop and just pull over. But today, it's just fabulous. This is what you live for. Not that I mind, you know, getting caught in rain or cold or extreme heat like we've been experiencing on some of our trips, but that's what makes you appreciate the days like today when there's a blue sky up above and, you know, no traffic and the roads are smooth and all these little things that we take for granted. The bad days are what make you appreciate the good ones, right? That's the way it is in life, isn't it? You gotta endure the moments in the valley before you can really enjoy the peaks. Well, isn't this a little beauty? I took the turn off to Clingmans Dome Road. So it just basically juts off from 441. And it's a much smaller, really, really well-maintained, beautifully smooth road. A little bit of traffic coming the other direction. I guess everybody already went up there, maybe had their picnic for lunch. But Clingmans Dome is kind of where the big lookout is. That's like the pinnacle of the mountains, the Smoky Mountains. So far, I'm just enjoying the ride. I don't care about the destination. I'll take a road like this any day. This is beautiful. Look at this with the tree cover and everything. Whew. Fabulous. Bonita, bonita. Danger. Holy moly, look at all these cars lined up. This is past the parking area. I have a feeling we are not going to be climbing up to Clingmans Dome. I really don't feel like dealing with all these people. Let's just park here, shall we? Why not? Make our own little space and take a little look at the view. These two look like they're having fun.
I'm trying to.
Look at that view, huh? Oh my gosh. Well, there's the view from Clingmans Dome, you guys. I sure wish I could fly my drone, man. That would be epic, wouldn't it? Too bad you can't fly a drone in a national park. Oh well. But isn't that beautiful? This is just gorgeous. Now, Clingmans Dome, there's a structure up here that's actually called Clingmans Dome, and I'll tell you a little bit about that later, but I'm just going to turn around here because I don't want to walk all the way up there and fight all these people. And it looks like a lot of them are heading out, so I don't want to be stuck in all that traffic. Hang in there, let's get rolling. Woo-wee! Got a little brisk up here. The top of that mountain's a little cooler than it is down at the valley. I didn't bring my jacket liner either, so this textile jacket's letting all kinds of wind get in there. Back when we did the Trans-America Trail, the trail keeps going on Highway 441. It does not come up here to Clingmans Dome. And I wanted to show Jason and Steve this little route up here and go stand at the top of Clingmans Dome with them, but there was a little bit of traffic that day as well, and we were already running pretty far behind. As you guys know, when you're filming these trips, you got to stop and record and change camera angles, and so we were already behind. So they didn't get to see it, but Jason and Steve, hopefully one day you guys will be able to ride up here to Clingmans Dome, man. It is epic. If this is a spot that you ride to, if you've ever been up here on your bike, let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts? How'd you like it? Be interested to hear how many other riders have been up here. It's just a beautiful, beautiful ride. Man, I have to say I am absolutely loving the new gearing ratio on the CB500X. You may have remembered I changed out the sprocket. I use a 39 tooth rear sprocket now instead of a 41 tooth. and changed the front sprocket back from 16 tooth to a 15 tooth. And it has just been spectacular. I mean, I think this is the sweet spot. I really liked the 16 tooth sprocket for highway rides and, you know, typical road trips. But I did lose a little bit of that low grunt in the lower gears when I was on the Trans-America Trail trying to climb up those rocky ravines. It worked, it was fine, I made it, but I did miss that. And so this new sprocket change, this new gearing ratio, really I think is the sweet spot in between those two. I'll link to the video up above, and you guys let me know what you think. But so far, I've been extremely happy with this setup, and this is probably going to be my setup on the CB500X for the remaining years that I own it. Oh, the epic views! Look at that! We are back on the main road that crosses over the Smoky Mountains National Park, the Smoky Mountains Range. But the views have just been unbelievable. We'll probably cross over into Tennessee here pretty soon. Ah, here's a tunnel. Check it out. I couldn't resist. So this is a really interesting part of the ride down from the Smoky Mountains National Park tip-top corner there. You come down and you do this big loop-de-loop. You can see the bikers that just passed us are going up right there, see? So it just does a big loop-de-loop right back down underneath itself. Pretty cool, hey? Well, gas has been so expensive. Traffic has been so horribly slow. And the road has been so steep that I'm just coasting. I shut my engine off and I'm just coasting. It's now mid-afternoon. I had hoped to be getting to my hotel right about now, but maybe it's going to be a little bit later. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Well, now that we're out of that crazy traffic jam, I might as well tell you guys the Great Smoky Mountains National Park is the most visited national park in the United States. 11 million people visit this park every year. Crazy. It's a really cool park though. It's mostly designed to protect the Smoky Mountains. So that's part of what the formation of the national park was for. And the Smoky Mountains basically are towards the southwestern tip of the Blue Ridge mountain range, which is all along the Appalachian Mountain Plateau. So you got the whole plateau that goes all the way up to Pennsylvania or somewhere way up east, northeast of here, and then it tapers down until you get to the Smoky Mountains. It's said that the Smoky Mountain Range and the whole Appalachian Range isn't nearly as tall as, you know, when you get out west, like the Rockies. They're so tall, but the Smokies aren't, you know, those massive drop-offs and those huge mountains. And that's partly because they're so old. So they have basically sort of sunk down into the ground over the millions and millions of years. Whereas the Rockies are still a fairly new development in terms of, you know, the movement of the crust on our planet. Yeah, it's a really neat park. I love the Smokies. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of wildlife, bears, elk, and things like that you can come up and see. And it's just such beautiful scenery. They call the Blue Ridge Mountains that for a reason. They have that beautiful blue hue to them when you look at them in the distance. And the sunsets and sunrises over here are just spectacular. We drove through Cherokee. Of course, you may know that majority of the Cherokee tribes settled in the valleys along the rivers surrounding the Smoky area, Smokies National Park, which is basically Georgia, Tennessee states today. So there you go. I told you I'd let you guys know a little bit about the Smoky Mountains National Park, and it's one of my favorite parks, especially because it's a fairly close one to us. Anyway, it looks like we're pretty much nearing the end of our ride over the Smokies. So I'm just going to twist the throttle and go try and find some of my tribe. I got to go find where all these guys are. It's going to be a fun reunion. I'm looking forward to catching up with a bunch of people. And some of them have come from as far away as South Africa and Sweden and the West Coast, the East Coast, I mean, Canada. So it's going to be really neat to catch up with these guys because when we grew up overseas at TASOK, you know, our parents were from all over the planet. It was just a melting pot of all these different ethnicities and different religions and people from all over the world. And so it's just neat to finally come together and be able to catch up with some of these guys that I haven't seen in 20, 30 years, some of them. Hang in there, we're almost there, and we'll get to meet some of these cool people. I got all checked into the hotel, you guys, and I'm riding across the lake to go catch up with everybody at the house they've rented. It's a beautiful lake, check this out. I would have to say, overall, this just turned out to be one of the best days of riding ever. Look at this beautiful lake.